second. Bill O'Reilly coming up. This week we've been in the City of Angels, broadcasting directly from Los Angeles. This is Southern California. As I grew up in Seattle, Washington, I always wanted to live in California. I still kind of do. If Sacramento was not part of California, if they would just take all of the politicians and the politics and Hollywood and move them to New York, I would love to live here. But I don't know how people do it. I really don't. God bless you. There's so many conservatives here that just don't admit that they're conservative. Just keep it quiet. This is home to some of the most pompous virtue signaling liberals in the entire nation, maybe the entire world. The virtue signaling here is off the charts. Even the French say, "Oh, they're a little snotty, huh?" They don't just talk about how incredibly awesome and more virtuous than they are than the rest of us. They back it up by regulating the crap out of everything. Some of the most ridiculous laws you've ever heard. Some of my favorites. It's a crime to ride a bicycle in a swimming pool, which is kind of a, bummer because I like to swim and bike and I don't have the time. So I like to do it both at the same time. There's nothing like riding your BMX in a pool. It's just for people who are super athletic like me. 2, illegal to curse on a mini golf course. Is it possible to play golf, any form of golf, and not curse? 3, dogs are not allowed to mate within 500 yards of a church or a school. I know, I've been talking to my dog. Do you realize how close we are to a school? Stop humping that other dog. You break this law, and you face a $500 fine and or 6 months in prison. By the way, Your Honor, I wasn't humping near the school. The dog was. Why am I going to prison? If you're a pooch trotting along, near a church or a school, and you happen to hear the sweet melodic sounds of Barry White, and all of a sudden that poodle is walking in slow motion, stay away, man. Run for the cold swimming pool, as long as there's not a bike in it. This is California. The biggest and probably most economically challenging and damaging laws are the environmental laws. Kind of like the new law that makes it illegal to take a shower and do your laundry on the same day. Oh, this is great. Don't laugh. That's a real law. How about the stringent emission laws that corporations have to deal with? But it's kind of funny for all the fierce rhetoric that comes from everybody in Hollywood, to the San Fernando Valley regarding the climate change and militant environmentalism. Because I'm here this week and this place looks like a crap hole. I mean, it's dirty, nasty, garbage everywhere. Have you walked down, Hollywood Boulevard? Wow. That's lovely. I mean, if you can make it by, honest to God, in Hollywood, doing some business this week, walking down, everybody's like, is that guy smoking crack? Of course he is. Of course he is. Everybody's smoking crack. Try taking a drive down the 405 or any freeway in the LA area. Bumper to bumper, it's a mess. You want to roll your windows down because it's so nice, but no, you really don't because of the, all of the earth-saving chemicals that are being pumped out of the back of that bus. So, what is the after effect of all of these virtuous laws? It's making things better, right? Several years ago, the state of California offered drivers of low or zero emission cars for the opportunity to drive in the carpool lane. All they had to do was just do one thing. They wanted to encourage more people to buy electric cars, saving the environment. Now, it just happens that they also gain some revenue by, having to buy those cute little zero emissions carpool eligible permits that they put on the car. But that didn't have anything to do with it. California is not looking to bilk its people. No, it's not. Which brings me to the newest law, the California. Remember those little stickers that you had to buy so you could, you could buy a really expensive car, overpay for it, and then drive in the carpool lane. Well, the legislature has just passed a new law stating that the low emission carpool decals that you purchased, those ones are no longer valid. And so don't use the carpool lane unless you want to come back to the state today, because they have a brand new low emissions sticker for your car. Now, again, they're doing this just because it saves something for the environment. It has nothing to do with the state making more money. Has absolutely nothing to do with that. More money on the registration fees, which are coming, are now the highest in the country, coming from a state with the highest taxes. The money on the new low-emission carpool permit, yep, they like that. And the sales tax if you buy a new car. So the state's getting richer, Californians are getting poorer, and all in the name of environmentalism and climate change. But it's all for the virtue, right? Has anybody noticed that the cities that are run by progressives for decades are hellholes? Has anyone ever noticed that? It's hard not to when you're in some places in California, and don't even get me started with pooperoni on the streets of San Francisco.
I've been tracking what they call dark money. Now, dark money is are donations that flow into groups that target people for destruction. I'm a good example. All right, one of the groups that attacked me was called Color of Change. Okay? Now, no idea they show up with signs, get O'Reilly out, fire O'Reilly. They were funded. They were paid to do it. Okay? It took us a while to track it, but that's what happened. There are literally dozens of these groups, most of them on the left, the far left. I guess the conservatives have a few of them, but I'm not really aware of them. This is a far left movement led by George Soros, the billionaire, to funnel money into various agencies to destroy people with whom the far left disagrees.
Bill O'Reilly, just would like to know if this is one of those days that you say, man, I wish someone would take the president's phone away from him. He has just tweeted, I have no doubt that if the attack on Dr. Ford was as bad as she said, charges would have been immediately filed with local law enforcement authorities by either her or her loving parents. I ask that she brings those filings forward so we can learn the date and the time and the place. Should the president be tweeting and getting involved in this?
I'm not sure. I think that, with all modesty, he did that because he read my message of the day yesterday, which said exactly the same thing.
Yeah, I believe you're right.
They monitor me. May I read you two paragraphs of today's BillO'Reilly.com message of the day? May
sure.
I? Just very short.
Sure.
And I'll read it slow so Stu can keep up.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
The Judge Kavanaugh Christine Ford case is now expanding to the midterm election. There is no question that Dr. Ford's lawyers, working with the Democratic Party, are trying to embarrass Republicans and bait the party into denigrating the accuser. So this situation is no longer solely a possible criminal act designed to derail a nominated Supreme Court justice. Now it has become a national election issue designed to cripple President Trump. And that's exactly what's happening. Now, Trump took the bait. He took it. Now, you have to ask, is that a good or bad thing? I believe that the tide of public opinion is turning against Christine Ford at this point, Friday. That could change by Monday, but right now, I think that people are saying, you know what? We've had enough of this. We have had enough of the accusations, and there are so many holes and arrogance. We won't do this. We won't do that. You have to do this. Americans don't like that, Beck. They don't. They're standing back. They want to know what happened. They want the truth. But I'm telling you, I'm feeling the winds change here.
Okay, so I would agree with you. I just had dinner here in Los Angeles with somebody last night who is a liberal. Everybody here is a liberal, and he said this Kavanaugh stuff is nuts. It's crazy. I don't believe her. He said the Democratic Party, if they continue to do this kind of stuff and run left, he said, I don't know who I'll vote for. He said, if they run Cory Booker, Kamala Harris, or Elizabeth Warren, he said, I can't vote for them. I can't vote for any of those people. He said, so I don't know what I'm going to do. And this is coming from a guy who works in Hollywood, and he's a Democrat.
Anything. He better not say anything.
No. Right,
his job will be right out the window in that totalitarian thing out there.
Yeah.
Look, what you're having now is I would never say that I don't believe Dr. Ford. I would never say that because I don't know.
Correct.
And I'm a fact-driven guy. So far in this conversation, which I think has been excellent between you and me,
yes.
We have presented facts. We've stayed away from speculation and politics. Facts, okay? And that's what everybody needs to see. But once you get into a position where your radical left attorney, all right, a woman who disparaged Paula Jones and stuck up for Al Franken, when that woman is telling the Senate Judiciary Committee, look, this is what you're going to do. You're going to do this, or we're not showing up. Once you get there, fair-minded Americans are going to say, you know what? Blank you. And that's what's happening.
So Bill, what are the ramifications if she put all of these ridiculous restrictions, that Kavanaugh has to testify before her?
Yes, I mean
that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
So, but they're shrewd in the sense they put Grassley, the head of the Judiciary Committee, in a real vise. Because if Grassley says, you don't tell me what to do, then he doesn't want to know the truth. Then he's persecuting the victim. Then the Republican Party don't care about women. You see?
Right.
They set it up that unless you do it my way, that you don't care about
Here's what I would
assault.
like everybody in Washington to start caring about, and that is the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, which boils down to care about all humans, care about every single American and their rights. This has huge ramifications. Because I think personally, we are down now to the whole country is going to watch. If she cries and is sympathetic, the sympathy will change. She doesn't need any more evidence. It's now just down to which one is more sympathetic, which one is puts on a better show, and coupled with which one will the media get behind. We already know the first one.
That's going to be.
Right.
That's a good point. But I think there's a little bit more to it than that because I think the battle lines are hardened. And I think a lot of people have already made up their minds, even though I think they should keep an open mind on this. But I think a lot of people have said, she's making it up or he did it. But you have a situation that is out of control and being used now, not only to derail Kavanaugh, but to get Trump. And that's what people ought to know. That connection is now being established. I'll go back to the first thing I said. Who is paying Dr. Ford's lawyers? Who is paying them? And, of course, the press would never ask that question or bother to look, because when you find out who's paying, you'll see that it is a arch leftist group and big money's going in.
All right. Let me change subjects. Kind of. Let me go overseas. This story broke yesterday, and I saw an op-ed from Jonathan Turley on it. The far-right political leader, Marine Le Pen, has been ordered into psychiatric evaluations after she posted graphic images of bodies of people executed by the Islamic State. She was accused under French laws, criminalization, different forms of speech, laws that are rolling back free speech all over the continent. Posting the pictures meant she was charged now as circulating violent messages that incite terrorism or pornography or serious harm human dignity. And that can also be viewed by a minor. She also posted pictures after the Paris terror attacks of the images of the U.S. journalist that had been desecrated or decapitated in that attack. And she wrote, Daesh this. She's now being brought in to see if she knows the difference between right and wrong and can answer questions truthfully if she knows what reality is. Then she's going to go to trial, and she could receive 9 years for posting accurate pictures of what Islamic extremists do to people. Any thoughts?
I think it's a great opportunity for Ms. Le Pen, because people are going to say it happened, and she's warning us of what this group is capable of. So why are you making her a martyr? So if she wants to be Joan of Arc, I'm keeping it in France, thank you, she can be. So you use the insanity of, I see what they're trying to do over in France and other countries. They don't want to incite people against Muslims so that they're not beat up on the streets. I understand. It's almost like our legislation here, our hate crime legislation here. But Le Pen, and she's a shrewd person, she'll use this for her benefit.
Okay, so wait a minute, hang on. It's not like it is over here, because you could post pictures of the Klan lynching people, and as long as it's clearly marked, this is what the Klan is. That's nobody's going to do anything about that.
But there are laws on the books here where you cannot threaten somebody. That's what I meant. So if you're walking down the street and there's a Muslim person and you go over to the Muslim person and say, you're a member of ISIS and you ought to get out of here and I want to hurt you or something like that, you'll be arrested. You can't do that. So that's what the law in France is designed to stop. They don't want that kind of confrontation to take place. Britain has it too. So you're in a position now where, yes, are they impeding freedom of speech and expression? Certainly they are. They don't value that on the continent as much as we used to. I don't think we do anymore because our totalitarian left is wiping out free speech. If you, to go back to the Kavanaugh for a second, if you speak out and say, I may not believe this, then you are attacking women. All women deserve to be believed. I mean, that crazy senator from Hawaii, Mazie Hirono. Kavanaugh did it, and don't you dare say he didn't do it, because if you do, then you're attacking women. I mean, come on. That's where we are, and that's where we're heading, into that area where you can't even question an accusation or an allegation anymore. And if you do, then you should be punished. If you question it, you should be punished. And Maisie will be the first one to try to do that.
It is. It's truly frightening to see how close we are to being dragged over the threshold back into the Dark Ages, where
Stalinism.
You could be. Oh, yeah.
Stalinism. I mean,
exactly
that's
right.
what people, they don't understand that in a totalitarian society, you are not allowed to dissent. And in Hollywood, Beck, you're sitting in Hollywood. Are you allowed to dissent if you work in the show business industry, Beck? Are you allowed?
No.
Okay.
No.
If you're in the Democratic Party, are you allowed to vote for Judge Kavanaugh without having your campaign funds cut off by Chuck Schumer? Okay?
No, you're not. No.
You're not. You're not allowed. That's Stalinism. You're not seeing that on the right. As crazy as some of those right-wingers are, you don't see that kind of you're not allowed. But you see it on the left, and it is openly accepted by the media. You are not allowed to walk into the New York Times newsroom if you are a reporter wearing a Make America Great Again hat. You are not allowed. Everybody should know what's happening here. It is frightening, and it's going like a speed train.
It really is. It's picking up speed, going faster and faster. Bill O'Reilly from BillO'Reilly.com. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
And Killing the SS out October 9th. Buy it with Beck's book. Get those two right in your house.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it, Bill.
Okay.
All right. So earlier I said let's bring some dead people back to life on some sort of Frankenstein jury and just ask them, what do you think of this Kavanaugh thing? And, I just don't want to pull any woman from the past. I want, somebody, can we get anybody who understands civil rights one way or another, and people on both sides of the aisle, but they have seen this kind of thing before because they might have something to teach us. And I put Carolyn Bryant on. She's the accuser of Emmett Till. Let's bring her back to life. What would she say about believing the accuser? Well, seeing that her deathbed confession was, I have to tell you I lied. She might say, the accuser is not always right. Any woman that we brought back from the dead, recently, freshly dead, who's been stoned to death by Sharia law because the men have the power, might say, wait, slow down. Don't listen to the accuser, or don't listen to just one witness, especially if you can't refute that because the entire thing is stacked against the woman. That's not what we have here. That's what they want you to believe we have, that the whole deck is stacked against women, but it's not. I think they would say facts first. Here are the facts. Here are the facts. And if they remember the facts, well, then we put an equal amount of credibility and we look for other facts. But we don't just listen to one witness or just pit him versus her, because then it becomes about who has power, who is more valued in society, or who the better actor is. Witch hunts? I think they would all say don't go along with the mob. McCarthy hearings? I think they would say don't necessarily listen to the accuser. They might be under duress. They might have another reason for calling me out. Japanese internment? There was no evidence at all. In fact, the evidence was the other direction. Every single time, we do things where we're not looking at the facts and we're not saying, look, give me the facts, and to be able to do this to another human being, there better be a lot of facts, because I'm taking away their freedom, I'm taking away their life, I'm taking away their right to pursue happiness. Remember, that's our motto, that's our mission statement as a country. Life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. We're not talking about his life. We're not talking about Kavanaugh's liberty. He's not going to jail. We're talking about his ability to work. Based on what? His reputation is going away. He will not find work. We're saying you can't pursue your happiness and be on the Supreme Court because there's one person who doesn't know any details that is saying this. This is dangerous because it happens to all of us. When it happens to one, injustice anywhere is a injustice everywhere. I mean, just a few days ago, it was, we have to at least listen to her. We have to at least hear what she has to say. Okay. Now, just a few days later, it's, how dare you ask to hear what she has to say? He's got to answer first. And then maybe she'll say, but you're not going to ask her questions. How dare you? This is an upside-down world that looks an awful lot like the Red Scare, witch hunts, looks an awful lot like Emmett Till, looks an awful lot like Sharia law, does not look like America. Let's slow down here and apply principles that we all know are true. Pat Gray from the Pat Gray Radio Roundup is on with us now. Hello, Pat.
Hello, Glenn. There's a lot of outrage, and rightly so. I think you'll agree, because the left they're loving, they're inclusive, and no doubt they're in the right. Because, I mean, he obviously did this. Look at him. Some of the messages that the family is getting, the law enforcement, the CIA has said that told CNN that the family's gotten credible threats against their lives.
Can you imagine?
His wife got messages like this: please tell your rapist, lying, cheating, corrupt bitch of a husband to put a bullet in his ugly effing skull. My condolences to you for being married to a rapist, although you probably deserve it. F you and your rapist husband. F you, rapist enabling C-word. Your husband is a liar, thief, rapist, and probably a pedophile. Burn in hell, you worthless effing C-word. One of the worst was, may you, your husband, and your kids burn in hell, you effing pieces of trash. Eat crap, I'll say.
So I don't think they said crap, and I wonder, how do you burn in hell if you don't believe in God? I mean, I usually the people on the left don't believe in God, so burn in hell really is kind of an empty thing, isn't it?
Yes. Although I'm it's gratifying to see how inclusive they are and how loving they are, and how tolerant they are, because I'd hate to see what would happen with them if they weren't. Wow. I mean, we don't know anything about this woman. Nobody knows anything about this woman. The Democrats that are defending her have never met her. They don't know who she is. They don't know what she's saying is true. They don't know anything about it. And yet everybody's jumping in to defend her now. And everybody's jumping all over the top of Brett Kavanaugh. By the way, what is the allegation of being a thief? Where does that even come from? Several of these people are calling him a thief and a liar, and where is all that stuff coming from? A pedophile?
Does it matter?
Wow. No, it doesn't. None of it makes any sense.
So let me ask you this. Because you know that the accuser is also getting these kinds of emails.
Yeah.
And so, people are doing this. Pat, have you ever been this convinced of something with such little evidence? I mean, let me ask you this.
No.
Are you defending Kavanaugh to that level?
No way. No way.
Right. Why?
Because I don't know. I don't know him. I don't know him. So, there's no evidence yet. We haven't had, there's been no due process, so you can't possibly know.
Would you say, where are you right now on his nominations? What should happen?
Right now, I think he should be nominated or confirmed.
Yeah, okay. Me too.
Yeah.
If she comes out and she says, okay, I haven't said anything until now, but here's the videotape and the picture of him doing this. Any doubt in your mind that you would say, oh, good God, that guy shouldn't be on the Supreme Court?
No, of course not. Of course, everybody would say that.
Right. Everybody would say that. Mm-hmm. All Republicans.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand the people who are living their life with such certitude that they can damn people, they can threaten people, they want to put everybody into a box that you are just a horrible, horrible rapist human being.
Mm-hmm.
If you say, wait a minute, I've believed some things, I don't believe other things, I weigh them individually. I think the evidence on Keith Ellison is much stronger. I mean, you look at the Keith Ellison stuff.
Did you see how many people believe him?
Yeah, 5.
Yeah, 5% believe that he did it. 5% of Democrats believe he did it.
Okay, so here's the note from her doctor. Okay,
yeah,
this is one of the notes from her doctor in 2017. She states she's in a very stressful environment and has been for years, with emotional and physical abuse by a partner with whom she's now separated. She didn't have any physical injuries that required a physical examination. She identifies the individual that she's involved with as Congressman Ellison, and she's worried about retribution if she identifies him publicly. She feels that she is extricating herself from the relationship, and she feels much better and healthier now. So here's documentation. They have tweets. They have video. They have people that she worked with that she would go, look at this tweet.
Mm-hmm.
And her friends would say, oh, my gosh, you got to get away from this guy. And yet only 5% of people who are going to the polls for Keith Ellison believe all of that. And yet they're willing to condemn Kavanaugh.
Yeah, completely. Yeah, 100%. It's and on the other interesting element to the Kavanaugh or to the Ellis thing is a couple of weeks ago when she said, look, I shouldn't have to show you the video. You should just believe me. Well, that created some doubt in my mind for Keith Ellison. I don't have a lot of certitude even with that one. But people can jump all over Kavanaugh for something that supposedly happened 36 years ago that he categorically denies, and so do many of his friends and girls that dated him. And there's a lot of people on his side that say there's no way he did this, but they absolutely believe he did.
And by the way, he made those claims under oath.
Right.
What's going to happen to Brett Kavanaugh in his career, not only if he did this, but if she would appear and present evidence that he did it, he lied under oath.
Yeah, he's done.
It's not that he's not going back.
Jail.
Yeah, he's not just being dismissed as a Supreme Court nominee. Mm-hmm. He will lose his judgeship, and he might go to jail. Testifying in front of Congress under oath and lying? I know the Obama administration gets away with it, but I doubt that Brett Kavanaugh would get away with it. And I think he's smart enough to know that.
Yeah, he loses his career if he's guilty. I just don't. I don't believe she has any of that stuff. I don't believe she has any kind of.
Do you think
proof.
It's going to matter if she gets on Thursday, and she's emotional and she cries and she is very, very credible? Do you believe that the Democrats will treat her testimony as they did with a very credible witness who was crying? The last woman that accused Bill Clinton that was so credible, what was it? Or Juanita Broaddrick?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you think they're going to treat her like they treated
Juanita Broaddrick?
Right.
No, I think there'll be a little bit of difference there, just a little.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's interesting to listen to her now too, because everybody's saying that the FBI should investigate everything Kavanaugh's ever done, and she's been saying, yeah, okay, well, if you're going to do that, why don't you start investigating what I've been saying about Bill Clinton for 30 years? How about that? And it's been It's been longer than 30 years that she's been making these claims. Plus, she made them a long time ago. This woman just barely came forward.
Well, it's, in the case of the Clinton accusers, they only came forward when he was about to be president. Oh, no, wait. Not all of them did. Others.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Pat.